So this comes from Crystal Miller. And this was in regards to that video that I posted about, you know, different ways to make $50 per hour for Dashers. So this is what Crystal said, and I just want to give my 2 cents, my thoughts on what she was saying. She goes, I really don't get it. I deliver in Fort Lauderdale area in Florida. I constantly get $2, $3 and $3 orders to go 3 to 10 miles away. Now let me just pause for a second. Always, always, always try to follow the formula of $1 per mile. Okay, sometimes if you can do $2 per mile. All right, so if you're getting a $3 order and it has to go 2 miles, a $3 payout sucks. But if it's a quick drop off, bing bam boom, you can knock it out. If you know your market well, you could actually do well, because you could drop that $3 order off real quick. If it's like a mile or two, you know, even 3 miles, that's $1 per mile. Okay, if you are stuck in this situation, try and use the mileage to your advantage, okay? Because I know there are some people that work in crappy markets that get really, really low payouts, but they make, you know, $20 per hour with the small payouts because they're using the mileage tactic, okay? So just something, you know, to take a bad situation and try and make it something good. But of course, always reject the low-paying offers if you can manage to do so, if it's busy enough. So don't think taking low-ball offers is always a good thing, because it's not. But if you're desperate, there you go. I constantly get $2 and $3 orders to go 3 to 10 miles away. And on DoorDash, it will not let me dash unless it's busy. And I have to beat others to peak pay scheduling. This has been an issue for quite a few people for quite a while now. I literally can't drive with DoorDash, so I mostly use Uber. Plus, Uber will let me deliver no matter what. I'm slowly backing away from DoorDash. So, look, Crystal Miller is not the first and will probably not be the last Dasher to say, you know what, I'm wiping my hands clean of DoorDash. They're not treating me right. I'm going to take myself elsewhere so that I can make more money and be more profitable in my market on other platforms. Totally understandable. But I've said this over and over and over and over again, and I will keep saying it, guys. You have to diversify. Do not rely on one app. Some people can do it. Some people can. In my market, I hardly ever have to touch DoorDash or Uber Eats because GrubHub keeps you busy with good payouts in this particular market. It has a lot to do with the kinds of clientele. If you are in a lower income area, you can't necessarily expect huge tips. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. If you're in an area that is a little more upper scale, where people have more money to spend, sometimes you'll get better payouts, or in most cases you'll get better payouts. But some people say the super rich people don't want to tip too. I've experienced that myself. But again, you need to figure out what is most profitable. There have been drivers and dashers that I've met over the years that literally will drive 45 minutes to another place that they know is more profitable for them. Okay? Uber Eats and DoorDash allows you to do this, so take advantage of it anytime you can. GrubHub, you're stuck to a region, you know, and to change regions, you have to contact them, and it's a whole process. So that's your advantage on DoorDash and Uber Eats. And interestingly enough, she said she's leaning more towards Uber Eats. So I'm just curious, everybody in the chat or the comments, do you find that you are saying, you know, the hell with DoorDash, I'm going to try out Uber Eats, I'm going to try out GrubHub? Because like I said, you have to diversify. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. It's the biggest mistake you can make, because what if you get deactivated from DoorDash and you're like, what do I do now? Seriously, guys, get on GrubHub, get on Uber Eats. I have the link for Uber Eats to go sign up down below in all my descriptions. Use it. Go use the link, sign up. And I'm telling you, you'll be much happier when you're sitting there waiting for orders, or if DoorDash is ending your dash early because you're cherry picking too much. Multi-app, multi-app, multi-app. Cherry picking and multi-apping work hand in hand. Take advantage of it while you still can. That's my best advice right there with that. So it's no surprise that that dashers are leaving DoorDash, that they're quitting DoorDash. It makes sense. It makes sense. This comes from Chris, and he says, "Hey Pete, with New York now requiring transparency for all driver tips, What do you think is the reason for DoorDash to still hide full detail on tips nationwide? By the time you move to accept or decline the order, it has already been assigned to you as the driver. So what is the benefit of hiding that detail? Is the chance of a bigger tip more enticing, or are they just hiding all the poor tips? Keep up the good work, Chris. Chris, excellent question. I'm glad you asked it. With that being said, the fact that New York has taken a step in this direction, I think is great. Because what I've noticed, of being on this world for over 30 years, is whatever one coast does, eventually the other coast does, and then everyone in between after. So if New York does something, eventually California does it, and then everybody in between does it. Or if California does something first and makes a change, New York will do it, and then everybody does it in between. So firstly, I think it will be rolled out nationwide eventually. I would say within the next 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner. Now, the reason why I think they're holding out is because DoorDash and GrubHub and Uber Eats, these apps, hate cherry picking. They hate the multi-apping. They want people to work on their app and nothing more, and accept all the crappy orders and just be happy with it. That's what they want, but they're living in a dream world. They're, you know that song? Dream, 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 dream. Remember that song? That's what Tony Shu is like. He's like this, dream, like in his bed, watching. I should do like a parody of that. But it's just like he just, these people, they think that people are going to want to take those lowball offers. And what happens, Chris, is that when new drivers sign up on these apps, they don't know what the heck they're doing. Most people don't go to YouTube or Facebook or Reddit or whatever to get advice. They see a commercial for DoorDash or GrubHub or Uber Eats or something, or they hear from a friend or a family member that does it, and they're like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So they sign on, and they're taking the $2 and $3 orders, and they're like, oh, maybe that's the way it is, until they get a big order or a double-digit order, $10, $15, $20 plus order, and they're like, whoa, I wish I could get more of those. And then they research more, and then they start saying, hey, maybe I'm going to try and look up and figure out better ways to make more money with this. And then they go to YouTube and Facebook and Reddit and go Googling things and trying to figure out more techniques. And then they start cherry picking and whatnot. And then DoorDash gets pissed at these people. That's why they're trying to hold out with, hiding the tips and the lack of tip transparency, because they're trying to hold on for dear life until they're forced completely nationwide to do it. That I am not confirming. That's just my thought process. I'm guessing. That's just my opinion on it, based on me being in this gig economy for 4 or 5 years at this point. So with that being said, drivers and dashers, what is your answer to that question? Why? Well, I'll use his words here. What do you think the reason for DoorDash is to still hide full details on tips nationwide? What do you guys think? Please let me know down below in the chat or the comments. So this comes from our buddy Sam, and he says the following. He says, Pete, apologize for the long story, and yes, you can use my name. So, once upon a time, I added that part. This was the only time this has ever happened. I was having a communication with a customer I delivered to quite regularly. It was a shop and deliver order for Mayor, and our stores look like a lot of the other stores out there. I spent lots of time in communication with the customer trying to get the order filled or substituted. We got the shop done, and as I'm checking out, the customer said if she knew it was me, and because of the job I did, she wished she could tip more. I explained to her that as far as I knew, the only way to do such was to contact customer support, to which she told me she would do that immediately. I also informed her that I've never actually received any additional tip in my 5,000 plus deliveries, and she would be the first. By the way, everybody in the chat or the comments, put how many deliveries you have done on DoorDash. Well, a few minutes go by, and she messages me saying that she had an additional tip, and how much, and if there were any problems to let her know, because she would go all Karen on them if I didn't receive it, LOL. Well, I get the push notification saying she added an additional $13.50. That's fantastic, Sam. I'm glad to hear that. So, great, I thought, until I checked my earnings a couple of times and did not see it credited, even though I got the push notification and text from their automated system. So I called support, and after giving them the order information, they were able to pull it up on their system and see she did add an additional tip, and they had to take care of it manually on their end, and I should see it in 30 to 60 minutes in my Dasher account. I thought, great, and went to bed as it was late. So I'm glad you took care of that part. I woke up in the morning, and guess what? It still had not been credited. So I called support again, to which this time it was different. They sent me an email and told me to reply to it with a screenshot of the push notification. Luckily, I had just had a conversation with my wife about how communication is key and can earn you more money. So guess what? I had the screenshot. I bet they didn't expect this. After getting that sent off to them, it was a matter of minutes and they credited my account. All right. Well, page 2. Everyone comment page 2. See, you didn't do it. My tips to other Dashers and drivers is PYI. Protect your own blank. As we have always said, my question to you is, why should I have to prove a customer tipped me after the fact to support? Longtime viewer, Sam. Sam, this was beautifully written. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, but let me tell you, your frustration just helped a lot of drivers out there and Dashers. That's a great point. Why should we have to prove that the customer tipped? Shouldn't they have a record of that? Shouldn't that be an issue? Not an issue? See, DoorDash has always said since day one, we are not a food delivery company. They say that, okay? They say we are a technology company connecting drivers, customers, and restaurants. So how is that not a delivery company? But they claim to be the technology company, but their technology doesn't work half the time. It's very ironic, isn't it? So drivers, Dashers, how do you feel that Sam handled this situation? And do you agree or disagree with what he was saying? Let me know in the chat or the comments down below.